Welcome back to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and yes, I know you all have missed me. I have a lot to talk about here on IntellectualRadio.com. And if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. So, yes, I am back in full effect, and I just want to pose the question, are you ready for a revolution? Yes, I'm not talking about passivity. I am talking about a true revolution. We must rise up against the forces that are against us. What am I talking about, you ask me? You really want to know. I am talking about this new regime that is in the White House called Trump. Yes, he does not have your best interest at heart. You had better understand that you had better be prepared for a revolution. You had better understand that you almost come out better putting your money in a shoebox or putting your money in your grandma's bra, yes, or hiding it in a under your mattress, because times are serious. Now, we do understand there was much talk about him having connections with the Russians and having conversations, and the fact that they had rigged the election. But now we know that it is true. And yet the American people still seem to be hoodwinked that he is the person that should lead this country. Well, I tell you what, this is just my assessment, but I think I can speak for many of us. He's going to lead us straight to hell. Now, you're supposed to support your people in office, but I cannot support an individual who calls the very people who he had at his round table, calling them niggers. He could give less than a damn about the American people. So I'm just telling you, you better rise up, you better be prepared. All this passivity that we have been exercising, we must throw it out the window. Now, I understand that you might get more with honey than you do with vinegar, but let me explain to you something. Times are serious. We have come to the point where if you don't understand that the forces in these political offices that are not working for you but against you, you are in serious trouble. So we know that he's been talking to the Russians, and the fact that they donated close to $30 million to his campaign fund, and they failed to tell the American people that. And it's interesting for my listeners out there that my phone happened to go off. Why is it that when you start talking about stuff that really matters, things start to go awry? Now, I never had problems with my cell phone. Now it wants to cut off. So I want to apologize for those who were listening to Facebook Live, but the message is still the same, and it's coming from me. Yes, Angela Chimp, your host here on IntellectualRadio.com for Side Streets and Intersections. That my people, you have been bamboozled. You have been hoodwinked. You have better rise up. You have better prepare yourselves for a revolution, because it's on its way. Now you ask, well, if I continue to just work hard, the election, it's really not going to have an adverse effect on me. Keep believing that if you want to. Just like they told us just to keep on holding on, keep on praying. One day we're going to get our rewards in heaven. Well, we don't know what's going to come. Now, I'm not advocating that anything against religion, because I do believe in my creator. But what I am telling you, that even if you studied religions, they fought for what they believed in. We had better start fighting for what we believe in. And sometimes by all means necessary. Not only was Martin Luther King my hero, but so was Malcolm X. You had better get down to the nitty-gritty and understanding that they have created, beyond the mass incarceration of our Black brothers and sisters, they have disenfranchised them. They have demoralized them. They have incarcerated, murder. So what are we left with? Women, my African women, what are we left with? If the majority are being killed off, they're being incarcerated, they're being murdered, they're being disenfranchised and disrespected on so many levels, what are we left with? You had better rise up. It's okay to sing songs of old, but sometimes you got to sing songs of new. Sometimes you got to sing, you don't want no problems with me. Now, I'm just taking that's from Chance the Rapper song. You don't want no problems with me. All the passivity has got to go out the window. Turning the other cheek may be fine, but the last time I checked, when you turn the other cheek, you got slapped on the other one. So you better get ready for the revolution, because it is here. Now, you think what happens in the White House or what happens on the other side of the world does not affect you? Think again. They're outsourcing all our jobs. The middle class is virtually wiped out. It has become the have and have-nots. When in the hell did it become popular to charge 7 cents for a plastic bag to carry your groceries in? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Do not be fooled by all these politicians. Because remember, what appears is not simply what it is. While you think they're advocating on your behalf, they're advocating for what's important to them. Now, you guys heard me talk about some months ago the ALEC Corporation, the American Legislative Exchange Council, and all of these different corporations who pump money into this organization to get their rules and their laws passed on the books. Bank of America, Citicorp, Keefe, for all those who have relatives locked up in Cook County Jail. You have this organization where the detainees, they buy all of their food, but they're paying triple what the food is worth. Most of the food that they're selling them is garbage. It's killing them. And we all know that there is no cure, or there's no money to be made in the cure. The money is pretending like there is a cure. I just want to say that I am glad to be back. Yes, I know you guys may have missed me. I've missed you all too. As you all are aware, I am working diligently to take the knowledge that I've acquired to help people, particularly people of color. Now, I was reading an article because I got a lot to say. I was reading an article. You know, they over 20 years they had the projects up, and that was a way to try to contain a certain group of people, but that was an epic fail. They've been studying us from the time we've been here, and they still can't figure us out. Why is it that we pose a threat to them? I asked a question. Look in the mirror tonight and ask yourself, why are you a threat? Now, we must understand all this programming, all this social programming that they're doing to us. You watch any television show and everything's about programming you, telling you how you have to look, how you must act, what you must eat. Did you know that they're making cabbage out of plastic and they're selling it to you? Yes, the cabbage that you're eating is plastic, edible plastic. Is there such thing as an edible plastic? They're selling it to us and they're killing us. What happened when our grandmothers used to grow vegetables in the backyard? We didn't get sick. To have a cold, that was far and few between. We must begin to advocate, rise up, and prepare for a revolution. Now, when they say revolution, automatically it's deemed that it's something bad. No. Revolting to overturn an authority that is against your basic human needs is a very necessary component of life. And I can assure you that Donald Trump and his regime are not looking out for the American people. On that note, I'm going to go to a musical break while I prepare this Facebook Live. I am Angela Champ for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. Get ready for the revolution. Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I want to apologize to all my Facebook viewers. For some reason, when you start talking about information that matters, it's interesting how we begin to have these technical difficulties. I just want to ask the question, are you ready for a revolution? It's time to rise up against the oppressor. I'm talking about, are you being oppressed? These systems are oppressing us, charging 7 cents for a plastic bag to put your food in. We have a presidency that is clearly working in cahoots with the Russians, and yet he has still not been impeached yet. I don't understand it. The word for today is collusion. So I want all you to look up that word and understand what that word means. We are in a state of desperation. We are in a state where it's no incident and no coincidence that our young Black men and women are being killed. And you have to ask yourself, why are they so interested in the city of Chicago? Well, the city of Chicago is a hub. It's rich in politics, and it's a hub. Now, getting back to Trump, this man has lied. This man continues to, with his narcissistic take, he can't deal with any form of debate. He can't stand any type of criticisms. whatsoever. And I'm going to say it if no one else has said it here on intellectualradio.com. Now, mind you, I'm not saying this is the opinion of the intellectualradio.com, but Trump represents Hitler. I'm just going to say it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to agree with it. He's got to be some kind of Hitler. It makes no sense. Here's a man that was paid for $30 million to the Russians, or they pumped $30 million into his campaign. He owes them. And then he comes with this rant about Obama rigged his Trump towers or whatever. The man is a pathological liar. He will never be my president. And I just don't understand why we don't have any. Where are the real leaders? I like to see all the people that are out during the election time. Where y'all at? All the political power that you guys have, if you pulled it together, you mean to tell me that you all can't get Trump out of office? It makes no sense. So I want for all my listeners out there who understand that we are in a state of emergency. You had better arm yourself, figuratively, in some cases literally, because it's going to go down. Now, for most of us that are in our 40s and 50s and a little older, we want to say that, well, we hope that nothing happens before I leave this earth. But I don't know. We have a president who's very, very unstable in office. And because he's unstable, he may decide one day, let's kick off some missiles. Now, I'm not saying that that's what he's going to do, but he could never be my leader. I bet y'all miss Obama now, don't y'all? Now, even though they're all politicians, sometimes you got to take the lesser of the two evils. And all I'm going to tell you is, people, rise up from depths of ignorance. Stop being bamboozled and hoodwinked by listening to the have and have nots, all these old shows that are meant as distractions to keep you off focus, so that while decisions are being made about your life, you're concerned with what happened with the have and have nots. Girl, did you see what was going on? Damn it, I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to be blindsided. I'm not going to be blindsided. So let me tell you what's going on, bringing in on a local stance. It's amazing how these organizations try to label you as being crazy when they can't make you conform, asking the question, oh, well, why isn't he like everyone else? Or why isn't she like everyone else? Because my DNA says that I'm different. Therefore, I don't have to be the same, nor do I have to act the same. It's time for the revolution. You better rise up. You better get ready. You better understand that we are in desperate times. You have young black men that are sitting in the Cook County Department of Corrections for menial crimes, but yet they've been sitting there. Something that their white counterpart would receive a slap on the wrist for. These young boys are sitting just so the system can make money off of them. Now, I'm not advocating for those who are out here killing and committing all these crimes. They should be behind bars. But a lot of these young brothers and sisters that are sitting over there on 26, they're sitting because of their color. They're sitting because the system was not designed with them in mind. They're sitting because you out there refuse to read. It's okay to go hire an attorney so that they can speak all the legal verbal jargon, but it's nothing like understanding the law for yourself. You always hear me say this. If each one of us would take a page out of the books in the law libraries, we could fight our own cases. Because if you think about it now, when you hire an attorney now, he gives you a pile of paperwork. You paying him for the work that you've done. He or she is going to go to court, and I'm not advocating that because I have great friends who are attorneys. But what I am saying is that we have got to stop being so passive. Passive when it comes to our rights. Passive when it comes to people feeling that they can do what the hell they want to do to us. We just gonna wait on that glorious day to receive our reward in heaven. Damn it, I don't think so. Thank you, Art, Taylor, for watching, Kelly, for watching. I'm back on, and I got a lot to say because these people think we some damn fools out here. And we keep reminding them that we are. Like this big thing with Nikki and Remy. Everybody thinks that that's something to advocate. I don't give a damn about two black women being exploited just so that media can sensationalize an unrealistic beef. Who cares? At the end of the day, who really cares? I don't care about these 2 minutes on the other side of the world. The money they got or the money they're going to get, I got to get up every day and go to work. I got to deal with these demons. They try to tell me I'm crazy because I refuse to succumb to their ideology. Now, it's interesting. They try to fool you into believing that when you get certain jobs, that's the best that you could ever do or you're ever going to be. Well, my mom and my grandma, they told me something a little different. They told me that I could be anything that I aspired to be. And they also taught me that one book opens another book. So I'm asking you, are you sitting with your children or even yourself? And are you achieving all that you want to achieve? Or in the back of your mind, do you constantly say, well, they're only going to let you get so far? Well, if that's what you believe, then that's all that you deserve. I'm going to go and take a musical break, and I'm going to come back. This is Angela Champ for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. You better rise up. Welcome back to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am Angela Champ, your host, and if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953. Getting back to the subject matter, are you ready for a revolution? I'm not talking about passivity. I'm not talking about singing songs of when he come. I'm not talking about it's going to get better up in heaven. I'm talking about here on planet Earth. Are you ready to defend what's yours? Now, when you talk about, when African Americans talk about having a revolution, we've got to be negative. We have got to be, we're defined as being barbaric and uncivilized people. But the reality of it is that those in control are barbaric. They are uncivilized. And anyone that does not conform to their ideologies is deemed a threat. It's interesting how you get up and you work these jobs in hopes of one day achieving the American dream. Well, honey boo boo, let me just explain something to you. You were not a part of the American dream. But what's even more sad than anything is how you have our own people that work in conjunction to allow the oppressor's behavior to be accepted. How is it that you want us to forgive while you continue to do evil against us? Now, I'm not ever advocating violence, but why is it that when violence is done against us, we are then taught to forgive? That's interesting. It's interesting. I was just I don't watch a lot of television these days, but when I do turn it on, it's all the same programming. The have and have-nots, Atlanta hip hop, the Atlanta housewives, the women of Orange County, you name it, billionaires. I'm not saying that some of the material isn't realistic, but come on. All of this is major programming to keep you off focus of what's really going on. Now, I'm more concerned with the little guy who has on a plaid shirt in a little bar somewhere, maybe down on Rush Street, in the back room, where they're making plans about our lives. See, when we go to sleep at night, there are organizations that are up, preparing and strategizing ways to keep us in prison and oppressed. You have close to 9,000 or 10,000 individuals locked up in the Cook County Department of Corrections. It is a city within a city. Now, they allege they have all these programs. But I got to be quite frank. There's no money in rehabilitating folks when you can make money off of them. See, if there was really about advocating, then you wouldn't have the recidivism rate at the rate that it is. Statistically, we must understand that we have, when I say we, as African Americans, as Black folks, as we are often referred to, we continue to be sold. They continue to loan us out. And when they're tired of us, they throw us to the slaughter. It's interesting how so many young men are locked up. They don't know their court dates. They have no idea when they're going home. A lot of them, they're supposed to be separated, and they're all blended together with major criminals. It's a big business, my people. It's a big business. Now, I mean, yeah, you can call me a rebel. I'm not necessarily a rebel. But you must understand that integrity cannot be found where greed is the guiding force. Let me say that again. Integrity cannot be found where greed is the guiding force. On the face, it looks good. But if you are not signing pieces of paper, lying, to keep our brothers and sisters locked up, then you are a threat. I just want to know, Mr. Davis, you're watching. Are you ready for a revolution? Mr. Taylor, are you ready for a revolution? Mrs. Lee, are you ready for a revolution? Because see, most people, they talk. They give good game. Oh, well, I'll do this and I'll do that. But I found that when stuff really start to go down, you often find yourself by yourself. And all the people that thought they were supposed to be by your side, advocating for change, they begin to bow their heads and shuffle their feet and do a jig. Because we don't want massa messing with us. I got my credit score up to a 750. If I start to say anything different, they might drop it back down to a 320. Well, who cares? You still gonna survive. All I'm telling you, that most of us have learned how to do without. So do not be hoodwinked, bamboozled by material things. They make you think that you have really achieved something. Now, see a lot of these young kids, they're walking around with $200 religion shirts on, and they got $700 Apple phones that they have, all these little gadgets. Can't read or write. And you got the mamas and daddies out here. And I'm not talking about the ones that do their job. And I'm talking about the ones that really struggle and go through hell raising their children. I'm not talking about you. But I am talking about the ones that sit around and get high with their kids. Tell the media that their kids were good kids when their kids, in fact, were nothing. Yeah, I said it. You cannot get high with your kids. You cannot go out with your children and turn up and then try to tell them the right from wrong. My daughter will be 27 years of age, and I'll be quite frank with you. It's rare I go out with her because I don't even want to know what she's doing. It's just certain things, and I don't want her to know what I'm doing, and not that I have anything that I'm hiding. It's getting serious, y'all. That man in the White House and all those people that he's working with are not for your good. And I just want to know if I got 10 people out there who are ready for a revolution. Because the last time I checked, when they start swinging and they start shooting them darts and arrows, people have a tendency to scatter like roaches. I am Angela Chan for Sidestreets And Intersections here at IntellectualRadio.com. And I love bringing you topics that I believe that are relevant and that matter and that are important for change. Long are the days when we can tell our children to simply just shut up and sit down. See, we spent all the time when they were little children teaching them how to stand and how to practice the art of elocution, which is public speaking. And then society spends the rest of their lives telling them to shut up and sit down. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Even when you work for these corporations, they talk about the democracy, right to freedom of speech. There's only a right to freedom of speech when they determine what you should be saying. When you start to talk about that which they don't approve, now you become an enemy of the state. All I'm saying, my people, passivity has no place when it's time for change. I'm going to go to a musical break. This is Angela Champ for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. Welcome back to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and I just want to say that I want to thank all my viewers. The question was posed, we had a caller call in and said that if in fact a revolution had taken place, that we would be wiped out because we have no survival skills. And I'd have to say that I agree. I agree only because they've taught us how to be passive. By that, they've used religion to oppress us. They've used money to oppress us. They've used incarceration to oppress us. They've used us against one another. They continue to use lies to oppress us. And what do with a lot of their religious leaders? They pay them off. Now, it's interesting that with a lot of these killings that have taken place, I don't see all of the religious people that you once seen when they want to get money for the building fund. Where they at? But they want you to be a good steward and put the money in the fund, but you don't see them nowhere when it's time to speak on the behalf of our educational system, as well as lives of our brothers and sisters. I don't understand it. In order to do better, in order to be better, we have to have a desire. We have to understand that passivity has no place if we are to bring about change. Now, I knew a long time ago, probably at the age of 16, that I was meant to change the world. And as I began to get older, I realized that I was not going to accept what people told me to be total truth. I believe in reading and researching. We must understand that anything that we want to know with respect to our freedom lies in a book. And yet so many people die so that we could read a book, and now we refuse to open it. And we still die. Are you ready for a revolution? Or are you ready for the next episode of Remy and Nikki? Now, I shouldn't even be saying that in the same sentence. But this is the state of affairs where we are currently at. When shows regarding insignificant people have become priority. When the television, every program on television now, isn't particularly about your well-being, but it's about having some type of ideology forced upon you to make you believe that what isn't should be, and what should no longer exist anymore. How many of you are preparing for a revolution? Now, when I say revolution, I'm talking about on your jobs. I'm talking about in your neighborhoods. I'm talking about even with our educational systems. And I just want to say that I am grateful. I'm so grateful that something was put in me. The Creator put something in me that He would allow me to, after opening one book, He would allow me to open another book and another book and another book. And while you have a lot of people who say, well, I don't have to go to school to make this money. I can be a rapper, or I can be a basketball player. But the reality of it is that all we're qualified to do? Is be rappers and basketball players and housewives who seem to be out of control, who personify ignorance and a lack of morality. I'm saying this is serious. So on tomorrow morning when you punch in those clocks, I would hope some of the things that I've said will echo throughout your heads. Now, a lot of people say, well, I have good friends. I'm not advocating that you start to treat anyone differently. I'm just saying be aware. Be aware. There is no way in the world that they should have classes to teach our young Black men and women how to deal with police when they get stopped because they fear being killed. There's something wrong with that equation. And the reason there's something wrong with that equation is because we have become too passive. I want to leave you with this piece. How is it that our Black men refuse not to take their place, doing a dishonor to their race? And whether right, wrong, or indifferent, Black man, you are an honor to be worshipped. And whether you understand this or not, you are rare to whom none can compare. Black man, Black man, Black man. The beauty of your existence, you're the king in this jungle, so will all my Black men take their place? Whatever happened to when the Black man was the head of his family and the church? When he knew what he was worth, never allowing him to internalize defeat, when he wouldn't let anyone disrespect him or his Black queen. What happened to those brothers? Are they all gone? Because those brothers and those sisters, they were ready for the revolution. I just want y'all to understand that in order for change to come, we have to be prepared. And sometimes at all costs. Just like Martin Luther King is a hero, so is Malcolm X. But you don't hear him talking about Malcolm X other than a point of reference. It's getting serious out here, my people. It's getting real serious. You got to take a class on how to respond to the police when they stop you. That is crazy. But it isn't crazy, because let me tell you why. All of these systems work together. They all work together because at the end of the day, it's about making money. It really isn't about your rights. It's about making money. Now and then you get some individuals who have not lost the plight of what it means to be a public servant. But they are far and few between. And usually they are blocked by the system, when it comes to getting certain laws passed that will help and aid you. They are blackballed, they are in prison, they are jailed, they are murdered. I was speaking on a panel a couple of weeks ago, and there sat several doctors, we all tried to come together to understand the causes and consequences of mental illness and how that attributes to life. And at the end of the day, we must understand that in order to understand their systems, we have to be educated by those systems so that we can create our own systems. I want to thank you all always for tuning in. I just want to say, every day I go to work, these supervisors and co-workers try to treat me like a person. That's just what they should be. See, trying to do it when they have no concept at all, and feeble minds think small, that's the straw that fills their brains. So my bad that I am so. The master has an attitude to think you better not cross his path. It's a simple combination. He's like children's math. I've been trying to arouse their consciousness to a high ground, only to hear the echo sound of stupidity. Because in a day where buying badges off the internet with no code of honor, how do I execute threats? They said that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. They said that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. They say that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. So why do you keep wasting? Until then, I am Angela Chen for Sidestreets And Intersections on IntellectualRadio-Podcast. Until we meet again.